नमो अर्हन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आर्याणं नमो वज्रायाणं नमो लोकसाय तीन भुवन में राग ज्ञान का शिव स्वरूप शिव का नमः त्रिलोक संहार के. Okay, so let's begin, and we just have to go about. If there are any questions, we'll have the questions right now, and then we'll go ahead with the revision part. Any questions so far? No? Okay.
Panditji, this is Ashish's mom. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the last 2 words, I just wanted to know where do they live? Sorry, I'll just. I thought they live on a Udvalok, but you said that they live on a. So one live on palace, one live in a Naragati. Okay, so yeah, Bhavanvasi lives in the castle. Vyantarjeev, they live in many forms. So that also on the land. So when you say land, you mean the earth here?
Yes. Yes. I also told you that
is it called Madhyalok then or Udvalok?
Madhyalok, there's no land on the Urdhvalok. So what I was telling you was there are basic layers. There are 3 layers on this particular land where we live. Now in these layers, the topmost layer, few devas live there, whereas few of them live below this particular layer. So that layer part is not important. The only point which is important is that yes, Bhavanvasi live in Bhavan, which are on this land only. Some of them above the land, some of them below the first layer of the land. And Vyantar, they live on the land. Specifically, there can be any place where they can live. It can be, somewhere on the trees, somewhere on, old castles. There can be, leftover houses, temples, most favorite place. So such places Vyantar live. And Jyotish, they live in the sky, but then we can look at them. The sun, the moon, the stars and the planets, we can look at them. Whereas only Vaimanik Deva are those who live beyond our reach and limit. We do not know their abodes. Okay?
And can we see Bhavanvasi?
We can see Bhavanvasi. No.
If they live on a land?
If they want to reveal themselves, yes. If not, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Excuse me?
Yes.
I have a few questions that I couldn't really recall.
Please go on.
In I can't remember where, but there's this thing that says grave. What does that mean?
Grave means extreme amount.
Okay. And what, I forgot what Viman is.
Viman?
Yeah, like there were 4 different types. So there was one that was Viman.
Yeah, the 4th one is Vaimanik Deva. Vaimanik Dev, they basically live in the Viman. Viman is a kind of bhavan only, is a kind of castle. But then it is a hanging castle. It is not on the land, rather it hangs. So Viman is again the same place where there are different sets and different kinds of Dev live. Some of them are sweepers, some of them are, bodyguards, some of them are, gatekeepers, some of them are ministers, likewise. And some of them are Indras also. So that way, but then these are basically hanging castles. Okay.
And my last question is, okay, my last two questions are: what does burnt in the fire, the satisfying 5 cent beans mean?
Oh yeah. Like desires are something which keep on burning inside us. In the same way, there is one particular thing which burns on itself, which is fire. Now there is one particular word used for it. It is called as where did that go? What is it called? Vishay chah davanal dahyo. Davanal is a type of fire. There are basically three types of fires considered. The first one is called as the forest fire. The second one is called as the fire in our stomach, which digests our food. And the third one is the fire in the water, which keeps its geostationary function. Okay, so there are three particular types of fire. The first one is the aqua fire. The second one is the fire inside our stomach. The third one is the fire which is the forest fire. Now, what is most important part of the forest fire is forest fire cannot be stopped. If the forest fire has started, it will keep on going, and it will never end until all the trees of that particular forest are burned down. In the same way, the desires which are inside these Bhavanatrik Devas is so immense that it does not allow them to stop themselves, and they keep on going and going for their desires. So this particular desire is in itself a fire. Okay.
So basically, you're comparing the fire, like how much desires you have with the forest fire.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Thank you.
And my very last question is: if unhappiness of heavenly life form,
I'm unable.
Sorry.
Yeah. Again, please.
May you share your screen? Share screen. It might be hard to see, but in the unhappiness of the heavenly life form, it says that knowledge of the rebirth in the stubborn life form as via avadi gyan. What does that mean?
Just a second. I think I should unmute everybody. Share my screen. Yes, and we were somewhere. Are you talking about the last point or the second last point on this particular slide?
Yes.
Which one? The last one or the second last one? Which point?
I think last one.
Okay. Knowledge of the rebirth in the Sthavara life form via Avdhigyan. Okay. So this particular point means that, as I had already told you, the hellish beings and the heavenly beings, they have a special, type of a knowledge where they can know their past lives and their future lives. This ability is called as Avadhi Gyan. So the point when, their capabilities, their capacities, they start to fade before 6 months of their death, at that very point, they start to know their future. They start to analyze where they are going to go. So if they get to know that they are going to a sthavar place, they start having, a bad time, and they start feeling very bad about it. Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to know, or have I answered correctly?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Now let's just have a small overview of whatever we have studied so far. We'll do it very quickly. If you have any questions, you may interrupt me. Okay. The first one is...
Sir.
Yes, sir. Go on.
Why heavenly bodies go to star life form, not any other life form?
Again, the question, please. Why heavenly bodies?
Why heavenly bodies go to star life form, not in other life forms?
Good. That's a good question. I had already told you that yes, the heavenly bodies can go to only two life forms. Either they can go to human life form or they can go to Tiryanch life form. So you are very correct in this. But then Daulat Ramji basically wanted to make us understand the parivartan, which is written in the last word of first dhal. He only wanted to tell us that wherever we began, we ended at that very point. So we'll start from there, and then the circle will keep on going. So he just wanted to make us understand that if we do not get gyan, if we do not get the right knowledge, we will again go to such places and keep on going in this vicious circle. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else would like to say something? Okay, no. So 96 verses written by Daulat Ramji for analyzing the self and realization. What are you going to get from it? The spiritual and worldly benefits. Who is bowed in the prelude, so it is Vitrag Vigyanata. The first dhal talks about the journey of the soul. Now, there are three worlds, Urdhva, Madhya and Adho. In all the three of them, what is the essence of the three worlds, and which is Vitrag Vigyanata? What is Vitrag? So it is one who removes all attachments, aversions and delusions is called as Vitaragi. The word for illusion is delusion also. And Vigyanata means special knowledge. Special knowledge, the most special knowledge is Keval Gyan. And those who do not have Keval Gyan but are Vitarag Vigyani, these people have a special power which is called as Samyak Gyan. Sachi has a question. Yes.
You know this Chodala book that Pandit Daulat Ramji wrote? Is it like the short of the actual book?
I beg your pardon?
Is there a difference?
This is the shorter version of the Chodala because it should be 96 verses.
Yeah, say it.
She's asking, is it the shorter version of the Chodala, because otherwise it should be 96 verses in there.
Oh no, we had only completed the first dhal. So 5 remain. So adding all of them will sum up to 96. Okay.
Okay.
But that was a good question. Okay, one who has the special power to know everything and all times is called as Sarvagya or Keval Gyan. So if you do not have that, Samyak Gyan would also suffice the limitations for Vitrag Vigyanata. Arhant is Vitrag Vigyani, complete Vitrag Vigyani. Siddhas are also complete Vitragi Vigyani, whereas Acharya Upadhyay Sadhu are only partially Vitrag Vigyani. Triyog means Man, Vachan, Kaya, and once we know to concentrate on them, we definitely would be able to preach Vitrag Vigyanata. The next thing is all the people. In all, there are Anant Jeev in this world, infinite number of Jeev souls in this world. All of them wish happiness and fear unhappiness. So to remove their unhappiness and to get happiness, the monk are teaching, with mercy, the path of happiness. Now there are two types of happiness. So sensory happiness and non-sensory happiness. Non-sensory happiness is the happiness what we are looking for. So what is the reason of our misery? So they are explaining that, oh Bhavya, you are a very good man because you are asking a good question, that what is the reason behind the misery? See, if you if you understand a particular thing that everybody needs happiness, so you need to understand the reason behind your not getting happiness is your unhappiness. So it's a very good question and an intelligent question that to ask, that what is the reason of the misery, not what is the right path to happiness. Basically they are one and the same things, but unless you know your mistakes, you cannot go on for the path that you're looking for. So we have drunken the liquor of illusion, delusion since eternity. And why are we doing so? Because we are not remembering ourselves. Who is Bhavya? The one who can receive salvation and understand the self is a Bhavya, and the one who cannot is an Abhavya. So what is the story of the misery? How does it start and where did it begin from? So all the soul's journey is, although the soul's journey is extremely long, very, very long, but the Eastern monks, the monks who had been, many, many years ago, they had written something in short, and so is Daulat Ramji telling us things in short. So how does the journey of the misery begins? So it is like this, that the soul has taken the form of a being with one sense and lived in Nigod. What is Nigod? Nigod is a place where one body is shared by infinite owners. The examples to them are potatoes, carrots, onions, etc. And this happens in the Tiryansh form of life. They only have one sense organ, which is touch. The next one is the miseries of single sense beings. Although it's a very difficult question to answer, that even though they have this little knowledge, why are they so unhappy? Lesser knowledge should lead to their lesser unhappiness. But the point is, lesser knowledge is because of bigger mistakes, and if you keep on doing such mistakes, you will never be able to come out of it. So it's like the unhappiness is equivalently more in them as well. Their age is very, very little, so maybe it can go to as minimum as 18 times having birth and death, so birthed or died, or yeah. And after coming out from there, this jeev got into land, water, air, soil, land, water, air, fire, and plants. So this is where it has been. What is breath? This is also important, that it is 0.0127 minutes or 0.762 seconds. The miseries of Nigod are their endless wishes. Now, these are not such wishes which can be contemplated and equally grasped by themselves too. So these are, very vague kind of wishes that they themselves cannot find out, but then they are always trying and attempting to fulfill their wishes in some or the other way, despite having very little knowledge. Next is the misery of the single sense beings. So we had seen these: Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Vanaspati, the land, the water, the fire, the air, and the Pratyek Vanaspati. Pratyek Vanaspati, the example can be a corn, and Sadharan Vanaspati, the example can be a potato. Now, the rarity of trust. So as the most rare jewel is wish-fulfilling jewel, which is called as Chintamani. It's very rare to find. In the same way, having a trust paryay is very, very difficult. There can be many examples, like like a popcorn. You are, what do we do with the popcorns? You are working on the popcorns. You're heating them up. Somebody's helping me. No, you're heating.
Popping.
Yeah, thank you. You're popping. Thank you. You're popping the popcorn. So yeah, it's called popcorn for a reason. So you're popping a popcorn, and one of it, luckily comes out of the whole oven wherever you are, working on it. it happens more in India. Maybe it won't happen when you are having closed ovens. So that way, it's very rare to find one joule. Similarly, it's very rare to have a tras paryay. Okay. So that's that. Tras is more than one sensory organ beings, and sthavar is with only one sensory organ beings. These are certain examples. Make this a point that you understand them properly. Lices, bugs, and scorpions are three sensory organ beings. Worms, snails, seashells, etc. are two sensory organ beings. Mosquitoes, etc. are four sensory organ beings. And we all are five sensory organ beings. So the miseries for those who do not have mind is that they do not have mind, that they cannot understand the difference between what's right for them and what's wrong for them, and also they cannot gain knowledge and understand this particular aspect, that they shouldn't do a particular activity or they should do a particular activity. So that way, the unhappinesses of asangi jeev is explained. So five sensory organ beings are explained in two ways, asangi and sangi. Asangi are those which do not have mind, whereas sangi are those which have mind. Moving on, those who are very weaker and they are very helpless, they are eaten by the predators and torn, etc. They are torn, they are pierced, they have extreme high amount of hunger and thirst, they are heavily loaded, and these are all the miseries that they have to face. Okay. Next. So because of all such activities, they have to severely suffer a lot. Then there are other types of miseries also, that they are killed, that they are captured, and their pain, their misery cannot be explained in even million tongues. So this is how they, live a very pathetic and difficult life, a very melancholy based life. And then out of a blue, if they get an opportunity, not a very good opportunity, if they are very immensely dissatisfied with their life and they die with extreme amount of, negative feelings, they go into the abyss of hell, where they become these hellish beings. The reasons, the sufferings, sorry, before talking about it, let's just have a look over this. Its pains cannot be said even through crowed tongues. I think we've seen it. And yes, whenever they have a death whenever they have a very painful death, this feeling of extreme agony and pain leads them into the abyss of hell. Now, what is hell? Etymologically, the Germanic verbal base etymologically etymological word hell means hidden. So, and the Sanskrit word swabra means a cave. So it's like a hidden cave. Hell is nothing but a hidden cave where there is a lack of empathy, affection, and compassion. The lands and the rivers of hell are extremely pathetic. Touching the land is as equal to 1,000 scorpions biting you, and the rivers are extremely difficult as well. They are of a color, a reddish white color, and extreme small insects are roaming around in it, and as soon as you dip inside it for some calm and happiness, the insect starts to bite you, and hence pain. Next is, there is a tree which is called Samer tree, which is very easily available there. Its leaves are like swords. As soon as you go below the tree for some good time for discrotching your heat, but whenever you go down to it, as soon as the leaf falls, it cuts your body into two and you again feel severe pain. So whatever be the case, no happiness at all. The winters and summers are equally very pathetic, and which is compared with a Meru mountain of iron. Now hell's winter and summers, that is what is sure. The touch, taste, smell, color, and word of the hell's land are basically very, very difficult. The touch is as bitten by scorpions. The taste is most immense as a poison. Smell is like dead animals. Color is like darkness, and the word is always very noisy and bad to your ears. Kill it, destroy it, do as bad as you can do. The physical and social status are again very difficult. The physical status, uh, yeah, they uh, they pierce one another's bodies, and Asura keeps on indulging them to fight amongst one another. The thirst is so much that they can drink the whole, you see, Sindhu River, and still their thirst won't quench. And the basic part is they do not get even a drop, not even a cup, but a drop of water is also not available. So these are some of the activity. Sorry, these are some of the activities that these hellish people go on doing, which are very painful and miserable. Asura Dev goes only till the third hell. It does everything for its entertainment only, and poor hellish beings, we are calling them poor, but basically they aren't poor. They are only suffering what they had already done. And basically it's not what they had already done. Even now the hellish beings, they enjoy fighting with one another. They enjoy being very hurtful. So because of those activities, they are not poor beings. We are talking about them and we are comparing ourselves with them. Then only we'd feel, they are very poor and things cannot happen to them. We feel very pity about it, but that's not the case. They are only enjoying the fight. But as soon as the fight goes weird, the other person kills you, you will have equal amount of pain. Hell's hunger is nevertheless less. So it is as you can have the world's grains to be fed to you, and still your hunger won't even suffice. So that way it's very pathetic. But because of some good deeds, maybe you were trying to kill somebody and you did not kill them. You wanted to throw somebody from the mountain, you didn't throw them. You wanted to throw them into the river, you didn't throw them. So some good deeds that you had done in your previous life, they happen to give you the human form of life. This human form of acha, indefinite years is one sagar. The minimum age in the hell is 10,000 years, and the maximum is 33 sagar. And whatsoever be the case, they do not die before the completion of their age. So basically, human form of life have two particular different types of miseries. Looking at from the birth point of view, there are three types of miseries: before birth, during birth, and after birth. Looking at the different set from the age point of view: childhood, adulthood, and old age. So the human form of life have three different kinds of miseries. So birth oriented miseries are three, and age oriented miseries are also three. Now during the birth, inside the womb of the mother, they have to live in a very difficult and pathetic situation. After coming out from it, during the time that they come out from it, it again feels very difficult, and you cannot explain the severity of the pain that the mother and the baby feel while coming out of the womb. Acha, biologically speaking, things are quite different, but we are only talking about those aspects which might cause severe pain. Yes, Sachi?
In Narak, are all the appearances of the people the same, or?
Beg your pardon? Come a little closer to the mic.
In Narak, are all the hellish beings' appearances the same?
Oh, appearance, yes. It's very dark.
Okay.
Yeah. So inside the mother for 9 months, and then while coming out of it, it still is paining. Still it pains, and as soon as the childhood passes, we forget whatever pain we had experienced in that particular day, on those days maybe. In the childhood, without gaining knowledge, it wasted its time. In adulthood, was engaged in some touch oriented desires to fulfill them, and did not gain knowledge. And when it came to the old age, what could have been done, because you didn't do anything in your life, and still the situations are very difficult because we do not have much life left. One, or second is, you are quite half dead, so nothing could be done then. So this is how all the three guises of the human form were explained. Now, the heavenly form is again of four types: the Bhavanvasi, Vyantar, Jyotish, and Vaimanik. Bhavanvasi, Vyantar, and Jyotish can be seen, whereas Vaimanik, the houses and the places where they live can be seen, but the Vaimanik Devas cannot be seen. Yeah, if they wish to, reveal themselves in some or the other way, they may. But generally, why would they be interested more to come and do something? In the fourth era, basically they come, they visit Samav Saran, they visit, the Tirthankara's places. They also come and visit to check whether somebody's praise is correct or not, somebody's fame is valid or not. So that way, people were used to come. But then in fifth and sixth eras, it's quite a difficult thing. So Bhavanvasi are those who live in castles. Vyantara are those who live not in castles but anywhere on the land. Jyotish are those which do not live on the land, but they hang in the sky, but not so far. It is basically under the vicinity of the Madhyalok only. They do not cross Madhyalok. Vaimanik Dev, they live up, they cross the boundaries of Madhyalok, and they live in Urdhvalok. So only one particular type of people, one particular type of heavenly life forms, they live in the Urdhvalok, and they are nothing. They are none other than the Vaimanik Devas. Okay. Rest all the three forms, they live somewhere here around. Maybe somebody is sitting beside you and you do not know it. Oh, do not worry, my dear Arav. Nothing of that is going to happen. Okay. Next is, yes, if they happen to do some very good deeds and lower their desires, at that very moment of time they do a calm nirjara, and because of which they come to this heavenly form, from humans to these heavenly life forms. And it keeps on the fire of desire, and which leads them to a very pathetic death. And their whole life they keep on working on their desires only, and do not understand who they are, where they came from, and how could they understand themselves. So a calm nirjara is nothing but suffering pain without desires. Suffering pain happens at lot of places. Without desire is again at lot of places. But suffering pain without desire is the basic way to understand a calm nirjara. So both should happen. Hence, the pap sheds and the punya grows. This is how a calm nirjara takes place, and somebody takes the form from the human life form to the heavenly life form. So, yeah, during their deaths, as soon as they get to know that they're going to die, they start to cry and weep. After this, if happen to go to Vaimanik Devas without Samyak Darshan, without the right faith, they experience unhappiness. Why? Because the very moment they are enjoying their lives, but then as soon as this life ends, they are again awestruck and very difficult to grasp how and what will happen to our lives. So this is what gains them unhappiness, and this is how they complete the vicious circle, the circle of starting from Sthavar Jiva and ending to the Sthavar Jiva. 6 months before their death, the mandar mala starts to fade. It is also said that their eyes start to lose vision, and because of which they die. So sthavara form, thank you. Sthavara form is basically they get to know that they are going to go into the sthavara form. So with the help of avdhigyan, and again the same situation happens, and the unhappiness goes on. I hope I had sufficed whatever we have studied so far. If you have any questions, I'm there. Tomorrow is a holiday. Day after tomorrow, you'll have an exam. I wish all the very best to all of you. May you have a great time. Jai Jinendra.
Thank you.
Jai Jinendra.
Jai
Jai
Jinendra.
Jinendra.